Hey, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be covering the new Megabonk patch v1.0.17. This is just going to be a quick read through of the patch notes. You're more than welcome to find that on Steam as well, but I figured I'd bring it up to your attention that there is a new update. So let's get into it. I will show you some of the different updates and some game footage, specifically the opacity of the projectiles that has been added most recently. I'm hoping potentially within the next update or the one after, they will be adding multiplayer. So yeah, let's get into it. So TLDR, there's a new map. There's now a full map with Fog of War, so you can see where you've explored. You can change the opacity of the projectiles and particles. No more sunglasses needed for the late game. Which is super nice. Before it was really annoying, especially when using really large weapons like the Executioner. Used to just kind of obliterate the entire screen so you couldn't see anything. So for the system, they added DX12 now support as well. So if you were having issues launching the game or experiencing crashes, you might be able to switch to DX12, which should help. But certain graphical features will be broken, like ambient occlusion and color grading. So definitely stick to DX11 still if you're not actually experiencing any issues. For the game changes, so particles and effects opacity slider added in the visual settings. Auto opacity is enabled by default, which is super nice. And it should be enough for most players. You keep in mind that a lot of the transparent projectiles is a bit harder for your PC to render. Also, if you have a kind of not too good of a PC, you might want to turn that setting off potentially. So you doesn't really matter if you got a fuck ton of projectiles in late game. When you do have a fuck ton of projectiles with a ridiculous size covering the entire screen, you may want to make them fully transparent or set them to 0 transparency for absolutely best FPS, but you can just experiment with this. The silver tome is also now toggleable or able to be toggled, which is super cool. Especially if you're hunting for specific tomes. Silver tome is typically not used by anybody unless you're really early game and you really need to collect a lot of silver. But if you've had a lot of runs, you probably have a bunch of silver sitting. So not seeing that will potentially give you better pulls at getting tomes that you actually want, which is super nice. The charge shrines are now a different color on the minimap than the other shrines. This is also a really nice feature. You can see that specifically in the previous video that I uploaded using the Noelle character, which is super nice because now you can actually utilize the minimap a little bit better to actually see where the charge strands are, or if there's something else that you're looking for. Those are the same colors. So magnets, Bosker shrines, and the NPCs that sell stuff are still the regular green, but now the charge shrines are actually a different kind of color. It's like a light green. I don't know what the color for that would be. So there was an issue with the hero sword and corrupted sword when it got a lot of size. The speed of the sword projectiles didn't scale with the size. So this is actually really nice for the hero. For the two knight characters, I do have a Sir what is his name? Sir something video on the channel. Sir Luffy maybe. That might be the original one. But also a corrupted sword unlock video on the channel as well if you haven't unlocked that yet, or the character. So if you're interested in getting those fairly easily, do check those videos out on my channel. But yeah, those pretty much got a buff now because obviously this was a bug that should have been fixed. Money particles now move faster during the final swarm, so you can still pick them up while running. This is nice if you get like some eliminations right before using the teleporter. You'll pick up a little bit more of that gold. And if you got a crazy amount of move speed, now the gold will definitely get to you a lot quicker. There's also a lot of balancing done this patch. So the Fox's passive went from 1% to 2% luck per level, which is really nice. I haven't seen too many people utilizing this yet, but it has been increased quite a bit. It looks like. So if you get to like level 300, you're going to have 600% luck instead of 300% luck. The Birdo passive now gains 1% airborne damage per level, which is really nice, especially if you can stack that with like the scarves or something, which also got a buff, which we'll see later. The bush passive also got a bush video on the channel as well. So that's got a buff now as well. Crit damage has been increased from 0.5% to 1% per level. The bullseye also appears more often on the enemies, which personally I don't find too necessary at all, but I guess it helps you locate enemies like behind walls and stuff. And the explosion size now scales with the size multiplier, which is a crazy buff actually for the bush. So if that is a character that you're utilizing, I do have a strategy on the channel, which is now buffed pretty much, so it's even more useful. Mega Chad passive, gain 2.5% damage every time you flex. This is actually quite insane. So now the Mega Chad has pretty much been buffed a little bit as well, so even more damage with the Mega Chad. Noelle, which is the most previous video I uploaded. If you're interested in watching that, we got like around 250k films in there, and so the size, they changed it to size instead of duration, which is really useful, beneficial for that character. So definitely check that video out. I'll maybe include some clips here. She also gains a damage multiplier per frozen enemy. So if you do get the ice cube gold item, that's kind of stacks together with the Noelle Frostwalker, and it's really useful now. So you get 0.02x per frozen enemy. So 50 frozen enemies is 2x damage. And that can really work super well for final swarms, especially if you get the size super massive, which is now the passive. You pretty much freeze everybody once it does hit. Robinette passive has been buffed early and mid game, but starts to gain less damage per gold. So before, Robinette's strategy was probably the main one on the leaderboard, but now it's kind of been nerfed towards the end game. A little bit of a buff in the early game, so this only really affects super late game leaderboard runs. I'm making this change so we can see other characters on the leaderboards. It'll be nice to buff all of their characters and become as strong as Robinette, but this is not something you can do overnight. So the short-term solution was that he nerfs her passive late game for now. He'd like to eventually get it per character leaderboards too, which kind of solves this problem. Dice Head passive buffed a little bit. The rewards don't fall off as fast anymore. Previously, his rewards were half by level 25. Now they are half by level 50, which is pretty good. Calcium passive buffed and simplified a bit. Now gains 0.75% damage per level, 0.5% per 1% speed multiplier. So let's break this down a little bit. So the buff is buffed and simplified. So more damage per level, and every speed increase. Pretty much, I think this means that you also get a damage buff. So the more speed you have, the more damage. So also the damage is applied gradually as calcium approaches its top speed, which is nice. So the Ogre passive is also buffed from 1% to 1.5%. Scarf damage, which is whenever you're airborne, you get additional damage that went from 33% to 50%, which should be super nice to match with the Birdo character, since he does actually now gain 1% airborne damage per level. So increased damage whenever you're pretty much in the sky or flying. Brass knuckles change from additive to flat, which makes scaling stronger and now increases size per amount stacked. So the more brass knuckles you have, there's pretty much a buff there. Spaceman no longer takes fall damage, which is, I think, probably should have been implemented a while back, but that's not too big of a change. And the curse doll can now curse more than one enemy, from 1 to 5 every time it ticks every 1 second. So instead of 1 enemy, it'll hurt 5 enemies now. So that's super nice if you got a bunch of those. For other, Calcium's theme is now extended and now goes twice as hard. So you got some changes in the music as well. Leaderboard reset is now 4 hours earlier every Sunday. So he doesn't have to stay up working too late. He signed up for NVIDIA GeForce Now and Steam Cloud Play. It's not approved yet, but it should be getting approved soon. So if you do play on any cloud devices, that'll definitely be a good change for you. Gaining multiple levels instantly. You can now see the stat changes on the right hand side as you pick up upgrades. Previously, the stats only updated after you completed all the level up offers. That's actually really nice because sometimes you do, like say you took the Chaos Tome, you weren't able to see the Chaos Tome upgrades between the levels sometimes, and that actually is a super nice quality of life change. So different bugs that got fixed are fixing a bug where the shady guy doesn't disappear after purchasing him. I haven't seen that one myself, but I'm sure maybe some of you have experienced that. Fixed a bug where HP gain from leveling doesn't show on the stat screen. Also doesn't work with stuff like Beefy Ring. You gain 1+1 max HP per level on all characters. It's pretty nice. So fixed a bug with Campfire, didn't go away after microwaving it. Interesting. If you're standing next to a chest, you get enough money to buy it. The text will now change from red to white without having to move away from the chest and back into range. I did notice this before, but it didn't prevent you from actually buying the chest, which is pretty good. So fixed an issue where Shattered Wisdom didn't deal any damage and now works as intended. It might be very strong. Not too sure exactly what the Shattered Wisdom item is, but you can definitely look that one up. Fixed a bug where items could damage enemies when the game was paused. Yeah, that's a super bad bug, especially for maybe the bosses or something. So that's an interesting one. I haven't heard about anybody talking about that, but I'm sure it's around. So the dev heard about it. So hopefully fixed the bug where the music stops playing at the intro of the game. I have experienced this multiple times. So you'll have pretty much, it'll like do some weird noise and then it'll just instantly stop all the music and you're playing in kind of just musicless run. Fixed a bug where vanishing every epic item would no longer grant any legendary items. That sounds like a pretty bad bug, but I never experienced that personally. Fixed a bug where Chaos Tome rewards are multiplied by luck multiplier twice. Basically, legendary upgrades grew exponentially. Interesting. So I never knew about that one. So Chaos Tome, a little bit of a nerf, but I guess that was a bug. So nothing too major. Chaos Tome is pretty much still the meta, I believe. He also tried to fix an issue where some players didn't play the game at all because the menu was bugged. I haven't heard of that one, but that's also an interesting one. So, okay, that's it for now. Thanks for playing all the feedback. I realize there's still a lot of balancing changes that people want to see, but keep in mind, he's just a single person working on this game. He does as much as he can every week. Next week, he might try to do some new content for Halloween if I can cook something up in time. So that's kind of exciting. Some new different changes for Halloween would be super cool. And then I'm assuming after their updates, hopefully multiplayer is going to be being added. So that should give the game quite a few additional players as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Just reading the patch notes pretty much. Nothing too important today. But yeah, I have other videos on the channel. Definitely check out that Noelle gameplay that I uploaded. Did super cool, and it's a great strategy. It's a little bit difficult, and you do have to kind of get lucky in the beginning of the game and not die. That's kind of a little bit of a difficult strategy, but I wasn't lucky at all. I didn't get golds until I believe stage 3. So it is definitely something that everybody can do. But yeah, that's it for the video. If you want to see more content from me, let me know in the comments down below what specifically you would like to see. If there's any other games or strategies or anything, I can definitely cover them. Yeah, like the video. If you want to see potentially more patch notes, I don't know if anybody's even interested in this, but I figured I might bring it to your attention. I'm sure you noticed some game changes. And if you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel as well. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye.